not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of KWAM.
Welcome to the Variety Hour on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Listen to you move your mouth. I bet you come from way down south. Now don't tell me, let me guess, you from the town that I love best. Talk Memphis, I wish you would. Talk Memphis, you sound so good. Talk Memphis, high on the bluff. I swear I can't get enough listening to you talk that stuff. Talk Memphis, oh yeah, talk Memphis.
This is the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. I am your host, Dean Harris. I'm with CrestCore Realty over on Summer Avenue. Thank you guys for tuning in this morning at AM 990 Memphis, 107.9 FM. Or if you're streaming the show online at www.kwam990.com. We appreciate you joining us there. Of course, we're always on Facebook Live. So welcome. The Memphis Real Estate Hour will concentrate on investing in Memphis real estate, and we will focus on our residential real estate market a little bit as well. I will have local and national vendor partners of ours on the show from time to time, sharing knowledge with you guys on how to become a better investor or a new investor for that matter. And I remind you guys every single show that I am an investor. If you have that old home that you need to sell quickly, or if you know someone that has a home they need to sell quickly, give me a call or text 901-619-6170, and I'll make sure you get a cash offer on that home. We'll see what we can do to sell it pretty quick for you. Also want to encourage you guys, oftentimes you hear me talk about different properties that we have for sale. Those are all posted on our website, so feel free to go to our new website. We've had it up for a couple of months now, but it's CrestCoreRealty.com. It's www.CrestCoreRealty.com. You can check out all our latest properties we have for sale on there, and you can register to become one of our preferred buyers. So be sure and check that out. It's www.CrestCoreRealty.com. I wanted to say a big thank you to our show sponsors this morning. Sometimes we go through a whole show and you hear their commercials, but we don't get to single-handedly mention them. So we want to thank Steve Bickhouse of Sierra Pacific Mortgage. Steve helps a lot of our clients every month, so I'm happy to have him a part of the show. If you guys have any questions for him, give him a call at 206-930-1801. Then we've got Will Griffin. He's our closing attorney, title company that we use to close all of our deals. Will's a great partner of ours, so we're really lucky to have him on board as well. So if you guys have any questions from a legality standpoint, give him a call at 901-752-1133. And then our buddy John Phillips over at Brighton Bank. He helps a lot of our local investors here too. So if you guys have any questions for John or want to get in touch with Brighton Bank, give them a call, 901-476-5354. Facebook Live, if you guys don't know, we're on Facebook Live. You're welcome to join us on there this morning. And if you want to go check out any of our old shows, they are all listed on the Facebook page under the video section. So you can go back and watch some of the old videos that, or the old shows that we've got on video on the show's page. Last week on the show, we replayed the week before because of our weather here. We had a little ice and snow. And we were talking about our 2017 kind of figures and the goals that we hit. And then we discussed our 2018 projections and what we kind of see in our local market. So that one is also on the Facebook page. You can go back and listen to it. Today's show, I'm going to have the investment of the week at the bottom of the hour. I've got two really good properties today to share with you. And then Dan Butler's here in studio this morning. We're going to talk about developing your network and why that's extremely important. So let's get right to it. Dan, welcome to the show.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. A lot of people ask me, or a lot of conversations end up starting and with investors or with potential investors, and it always leads to, well, do you have somebody that can help me with this? Mm-hmm. Do you have somebody that can help me with this? And of course, every time, just about, I've got an answer for them because we've built our network.
Right.
Tell me, just in your opinion, we'll dive into some of our notes here, but tell me, just in your opinion, why it's important to build your network, and some of the things you expect to get out of that when you do it?
I think as we were talking about this yesterday, like building your network is probably the key, most important thing you can do in any business, not just in real estate, which we're mostly talking about real estate, but whatever you're doing. I was thinking about that on my run this morning, building your network, even in your your personal life, as far as your church life or your fitness life, or you're only going to be as good as the network you surround yourself with, and so that definitely plays out in every aspect of your life.
My father always had a saying, and it applies. You've probably heard me say it on the show, but it applies to this, and it's you are who you hang with.
Yeah.
And whether that's in a personal aspect or a business or church, like you said, whatever it is, if you hang around good people doing good things, you're going to be a good person, do good stuff. If you're hanging around people that aren't, the same thing, you're going to be a bad, influencer person. But I think it's very important. Some of the three things that we talked about in the headlines that we're going to hit, or the topics we're going to hit this morning, are you got to build that network, you have to sustain that network, and then you've got to utilize it. So let's just jump right into it. When you talk about building it, what are some of the things that you start with and you go to first?
Well, I think intentionality is huge in this concept of building your network. I think you got to be intentional. I think you got to start with who you know, and just make a list. I think even I'm sure you were taught in real estate school. You were sphere of influence. Writing those down, reaching out to them when you're trying to sell.
Yep.
And I'm coming at it from the angle of building your team, whatever that business you're working in, whether it's, like I said, real estate or manufacturing or whatever that may be. So, I think making a list of your network, and then just start reaching out to them.
Letting them know what you're doing.
Call them, just connect. And I think one of the biggest things that you're going to hear me talk about, probably repeat it too many times, but is being selfless in this act of reaching out. Does that make sense?
It does.
The whole concept of what's in it for me, I think that's where you can totally separate the people that you want to help versus the people that you don't want to help. And same thing when you're trying to reach out for a connection, they can totally see if you're trying to squeeze that turnip for all the juice, or is this a win-win conversation? So I think that, ask them what they're working on, let them know what you're working on, ask how you can help each other, ask them know anybody else that they know of that after they hear your story and what you're working on, is there anybody else in their network that could help you, reach out and.
So if you're starting to build that network and you're talking, from an investor standpoint, I guess you need to think about a closing attorney, which we mentioned Will Griffin this morning. He'd be a good one to start with. A banker, to provide that tool for your clients or that tool for yourself. Closing attorney, banker, insurance. We've gone down this list before of people you need to build, but I like some of our notes here. It's reaching out to them and letting them know what you're doing. Just calling somebody and say, hey, I'm an investor. I'm buying real estate. Let me know how I can help you. That might be an intro, but your follow-up to me is key on that, to let them know what you're doing on a daily basis. I don't mean follow-up daily, but let them know what you're doing on a daily basis. Hey, I'm actively trying to find this product, or I'm actively trying to get into this area. So letting them know what you're doing.
Because people react to what's on top of their mind. So if you're out there building your network and you're letting them know, touching base, and again, being not just about what's in it for you, but also what they're doing and what you can help them with. How powerful is that when you call somebody up and they say, man, I was talking to somebody this morning on the way in, just they needed help with X. And if you could go help them with that X problem, do you think they're going to think about you when you've told them kind of what you're trying to do? Yeah, absolutely. Right?
Yeah, you're the first person they're going to think of when they hear of a house or they hear of something else that can help you.
That's right.
They're going to lean right on you and point that right in your direction. Asking for referrals, know anyone you should reach out to based on what you're working on. That's classic sales technique, I guess. Really is. If you're talking to somebody in my world, if I'm talking to an investor and we're in the middle of a deal, I always ask for referrals. I never wait till we close because it's all done then.
Yeah.
When everything's going great and you're right in the middle of that process, I'll always ask, hey, do you have any friends or family that are looking to invest? So that's always something important to think about, is to ask for referrals and see how they can help you. But I think the key part of that, the build it part, is to make sure you're giving back. People will look right through it if you're not giving back anything to them.
I think, for us, I mean, you and I have been working on that for us internally, a list of property management companies that we can talk to, a list of bankers that we can talk to, a list of agents that do investment property, a list of wholesalers, a list of mentors that are way ahead of us.
Yeah.
And people that we can help as well. So, I mean, like, who do you want to pour into? Like, who do you see out there that, man, you just see some shining star just waiting to bud, like.
You're the king of this, by the way.
No, I can't know about that.
No, you pour into a lot of people. I mean, and I try to do more of it.
Yeah.
But you're at the absolute best at it. I mean, you're all the time when I talk to you, hey, man, what's going on? I just got back from lunch with so-and-so and had a breakfast this morning with so-and-so. And I know it's not your mentor, so I know you're putting, you're giving out and you're giving your time up to people to try to help. I know.
Well, and I think that's where I mean, again, I told you I was going to wear that whole selfless attitude mentality out. I mean, I think that's where it's all at. I mean, I think that, I get calls, I get texts, all week long from people that are just trying to get their first house done, and if I can help them get that first house, I mean, in any way, shape, or form, whether it's just, I mean, I sat down with a guy at lunch yesterday, and he showed me his plan to get leads and to convert those leads into potential wholesale assignments. And, I helped him poke holes in it and helped him get a plan to,
See?
Yeah.
You had lunch yesterday. So
yeah, that's right. But it was fun, right? I mean, because think if he does well and it goes around, comes around, like, he's probably going to come to you and bring you deals if it's successful.
Yeah.
Whether it comes to us or not, that's fine. But I even, one thing we talked about was mending relationships, and he wrote Christmas cards to people that and it actually worked.
People that he had not had friction with,
and real estate can be, you can get in friction real quick when there's dollars and cents involved. I mean,
super fast.
And so when people rub people the wrong way, you got to mend those fences, and and that's a good reminder for yourself too, because I wrote probably several handwritten notes last week of just just touching base, thinking about you, asking for forgiveness of certain things that might have happened. If there's certain things that going on, but you got to do what you say, and say what you do.
That's right. I was trying to help you with the
I
same.
know. I almost lost it for a second.
I send out our little cards to clients and investors and things when something doesn't go well. If we don't close, or if the house was in bad shape or something, I try to send a little handwritten note out to them. But
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, amazing. It's amazing what I can come up with, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Guys, we're live in the studio this morning talking with Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty about building your network, developing your network. We just kind of discussed a little bit about building it and how you build it. We're going to take a real short break, and then we're going to come back and talk about the results from that, how to sustain it. And then I'm going to get you your investments of the week. So stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes. You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on 107.9 The Voice.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. We'll be right back after this.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the Crescent Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Under mostly sunny skies, temperatures will recover back to near 50 this afternoon. Look for winds to be from the west. Clear, cool, low 30s overnight. We're back into the lower 50s tomorrow, warming into the upper 50s by the weekend. Forget the fast food burger. Step up to steak at Lenny's Grill and Subs. Fresh grilled Philly steaks, all steak, no filler. Bag the burger in 2018 and step up to steak. Eat better at Lenny's. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
Investors or buyers, if you're looking for the best customer service and most competitive rates on a home loan, come to Brighton Bank. They offer a quick approval process, fast closing, and they even finance 85% of the purchase in most cases. At Brighton Bank, they work with every kind of loan: BAFHA, USDA programs, traditional conventional, financing programs, long-term fixed financial, and bridge loans made easy. When it comes to home loans, they mean business. Call them today, 901-758-1740. Picture your dream house. For you, it might be a sprawling property with mature trees and a winding driveway. Or perhaps it's something more cozy and closer to the mall. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage today. Tell us about your dream home. We want to make it a reality. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage at 206-930-1801 or visit spmc.com for more information. NMLS ID 1788, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. We are talking about developing your network. I've got Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty here live in the studio. Before we left, we discussed building your network, how to build it, what are some of the things that you should do, can do. We talked about asking people what they're working on, how can you give back to them. Some of my notes here were kind of you are who you hang with, so be careful who you build your network of and with. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some give and take, You got to provide value to your network. Those, no one's just going to take. Yeah, no one's just going to continue to pour into you. We've used this term on the show many times. It's got to be a win-win. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some of the results that come from that. So, we've started to develop. We've reached out. We're trying to pour back and forth into different people into our network. Dan, what are some of the results that can come from doing that?
Well, I think you start seeing doors start to open. I think that we talked a little bit about that earlier, just that people start thinking of you when situations come up.
Yeah.
And you just never know when that's going to happen, and then your support group, your mentor group, your network, it starts to slowly expand.
Yeah.
It might have been 2 or 3 people to start, and next thing you know, it's 10.
Yeah.
Which keeps makes it harder and harder to keep up with. So you really got to prioritize that and be intentional for real. It just, you can get lost in.
It might not be a bad idea to set some time every week to maybe do that, even if it's just an hour.
And that's one example I have that I wish I'd brought the sheet in. We could have showed the Facebook Live guys, but I've got every bank in town that we deal with. Mm-hmm. Who it is, mm-hmm. Last time I talked, who's the contact, and I've been trying to talk to them once a week, but it's not, or once a month, but it hasn't been as consistent as I want. So I was thinking that this weekend that I'm gonna block off 1 hour, per week, probably twice a week, to just contact the banks, check in. Here's what we're working on. What are you guys working on? What kind of loans?
Alive.
What's that? We're alive.
Yeah.
And it worked. I mean, we closed on a house yesterday. That the bank thought of us when they had a short sale foreclosure situation, and the lady was willing to sign deed in lieu of foreclosure, and we stepped in. They financed it, gave us money to rehab, and we're gonna
off and going.
Off and going. So it was one house that had equity in it, and
I think you have to stay consistent with this too. I mean,
without a doubt. That's
kind of like your marketing has to be consistent. If you're an investor and you're looking for properties, you might be marketing to me, to other agents, to wholesalers, or whatever it may be. But I think you have to stay consistent, just like you would with your own marketing stuff. And
I think that's the biggest piece of really anything that we're doing.
The consistency,
the marketing, the network, closing. I mean, just being consistent.
Even from like our sales point of view.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're not consistent, I mean, 1 month's going to be great, 1 month's not. Deal's going to come, deal's not going to be there. But those that are consistent in our market, I mean, think how many people we see that are, flash in the pan. Because consistency is the hard. That's why I wrote sustain. That's why I wrote the sustain word. I think, is our next topic. But as far as getting your relationship, because being consistent is just going to be the toughest piece that you're gonna face.
And I like some of our notes here. Your support mentor group circle keeps growing. I think that's valuable because if you pick the first, your first level, I should say, of networking is great, right? Good. But who are they going to introduce you to? I mean, it's almost just like, the pyramid goes down. Who are they going to continue to introduce you to? And then you meet this person, and then you just continue to grow and grow and grow. The more people you're touching on a, I guess, monthly basis, I mean, it can help you in ways I guess you'd never imagine. Because I think one of the things you said here was, luck happens. That was one of your notes. I've got a great saying here. But
well, I mean, think about Grant Cardone. I wish I could have found his phrase. I mean, that's what one of his chapters in the book talks about luck.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's no really luck. It's persistence, 10x, going after it, consistency. Luck is because of all the things that you did to get there. All of a sudden, something popped.
Yeah. A Roman philosopher said, luck happens when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah, if you don't prepare, you're not consistent,
no,
the opportunity's not going to be there. If you're sitting on the couch, I give that example to the inner city. Two guys have a felony, one's on the couch, blaming the world and, just sulking in his sorrows.
Yeah.
Another one's out there, getting his GED, getting mentored, working. Who do you think is going to have the better opportunity to get ahead in life, and the kid's going to have a more successful opportunity, and food's on the table?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've heard it a million times when we'll pick up an investor, or we'll pick up a great house. For example, man, that sure is lucky. Well, I mean, is it? I mean, I've been working for forever
Years.
to try to find these houses and look at these things, and I want to say that saying again. It's a Roman, I think it's Seneca. I don't know exactly if I'm pronouncing that right, but luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. So if you're just continuously preparing yourself and preparing your network, you're going to get those opportunities. They're going to come up. They're going to, if you're doing it consistently, and you're working hard every day, if you're a wholesaler, if you're an investor, an agent that's listening this morning, luck happens when preparation meets opportunity.
And a tangent on the network. I mean, the guy that I was telling you about earlier at lunch yesterday, I just said, man, 2 months. Just, if you're wanting to do what he presented to me, let everything else go. Stop chasing the dollar here, chasing the dollar here, over there. Go this one thing that you think is going to make the winner.
And stay with it.
And stay with it for 2 months. And just see what happens. Luck is going to happen if you got a plan and you're prepared and you're consistent and you get after it. I mean, it's gonna fall.
It's gonna fall.
Yeah.
Talking to Dan Butler with CrestCore Realty this morning about developing your network. We've built it. We've contacted our folks. We've let them know what we're doing and what we're working on. We've talked about how we can help each other and how we can be of assistance to each other.
Yeah.
We've learned to follow up with them on a monthly basis, I would say. I mean, that's fairly consistent. some of the results that we've created from that, doors are starting to open. People start to think of you, when they find that house, or in the agent world, it's, when my friend at church is ready to sell their house, and I'm an insurance agent, and I hear that, and I've been networking with you and they pass you the lead and the referral. That is the most likely, I guess, when doors start to open for agents. For investors, it might be, hey, you finally were mailing out to a certain zip code at a certain time. Somebody picked it up and doesn't have one, but they referred a house to you. So that stuff starts to happen, and dominoes start to fall for you.
A little bit of tangent. I talked to a lady last night that got referred to us to help an investor buy rental property, and she is a East Memphis, Germantown agent.
Mm-hmm.
And it really kind of clarified for me, and I referred a retail agent
mm-hmm.
last week to somebody else. One of our clients wanted to sell their house. Mm-hmm. I knew, they wanted staging and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we want every sale in theory, right?
Yeah.
But if everybody's giving and taking, a yin and a yang, I refer the retail, she refers the investor, because she just knows we are going to take better care of that client. What's best for the client? You know what I mean? But what's best for our our friend, our mentor, or whoever is in our network? If you think of it that way, and not so much about how you're going to make money every time. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
This week I had one I referred out. It's a $2 million building, a commercial building.
What?
Yeah.
Should let me listen.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It was it needed some work. It was going to take a crafty veteran in the commercial industry to sell it. It had some damage to it. Good location, tied up with some contracts and leasing and things like that. So that would have been a great score, but I didn't think that I could properly list that and sell it for the client.
For the client, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't.
Instead of working on $2 million times 6%,
and thinking about that number, and that's
yeah.
great. But if I'm not adequately set up to help that client, then I'm never going to see that commission anyway.
Yeah, and that's key. I think we didn't write any of that down from our notes, but I think that others focused, client focused, your network focused. I mean, you're not just thinking about yourself, which is the hardest thing to do in life, right?
It's the hardest thing to do in life, but it's even harder when you're an investor, when you're an agent, when you're
trying to make money,
and you're fighting tooth and nail for yourself out there.
True.
It's very hard to understand the give and take. You only want to take.
That's right.
I know plenty of agents now that would never refer one thing out ever, period.
Oh, yeah.
Never. They don't care. And I had several agents tell me, well, just act like you know what you're doing.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
That'll get you somewhere.
I think a savvy person will look right through that pretty quick. And that's one reason why I didn't take on that listing.
Sure.
Could we handle that? Yes.
Yeah.
Am I a great talker? Could I have weaseled my way through that? Maybe. But there's no sense in doing that. Let's refer it to the professional. Let me concentrate on what I'm good on, which is selling, investment houses. So we're talking about building your network.
Yeah. So how do we sustain it?
So how do we sustain that network? We've gone through building it and what the results are coming up from it. So how do we sustain that? You've started building your network. Now you've got to sustain it. I go back to some of the results. It's just like marketing. You've got to stay consistent. Again, I'm going to keep mentioning that several times through this, but you must stay consistent. What else are some of the things that we can do to sustain this?
And it's part of the consistent model, but communicating, executing on what you say. You told your person in your network either that you were going to do for them or they're going to do for you, and did you follow up? Did you get that lead and then
not do anything with it?
Didn't do anything with it. It just dropped off, and then they're going to call you and ask you, hey, how did my buddy do with such and such?
Let
me go check my emails.
Can't stand that.
I think you got to build that trust, and creating a track record. I think that's because that's where the reputation starts building up. We've gotten so much referral business, whether it be to buy a house, to help sell a house, to help manage a house, just from that trust. Like people know that we make mistakes.
Yep.
People know that we're going to drop balls. That's just life. That's part of having a business and growing a business. And
the biggest thing to me with that, Dan, is, and this is we're pivoting a little bit here, but the biggest thing for that is, and I tell investors this every day, property management company. I'll get real specific.
Property management, yeah.
Property management companies and real estate companies and agents are not perfect.
Sure.
There are mistakes that are going to happen.
Yep.
Period. There's not a property manager out there that's listening to this show right now that is like, never made one myself.
That's right.
No.
We're on top of every single thing.
Every
all
single
day
phone call and every maintenance call, I'm 100% accurate.
That's the goal. Don't get me wrong.
Sure, but it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So the biggest catch to that, or the biggest thing I tell people is, how are you going to react when something doesn't go right? And that's one thing I'll stand on a big mountaintop and talk about CrestCore with. If something doesn't go right and it's our responsibility, I've seen you time and time again step up, make it right, eat whatever small cost it was,
sure,
and make it right for that client. So the biggest thing for me is, how are you going to react when something goes wrong? I'd like to say that every single client that's ever worked with me over the last 16 years is 110% satisfied. I can't imagine that would be the case. So how do I react when something doesn't go right? Same thing with you.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, I think reputation through all this is key to
how you're going to sustain it. That's right.
Yep.
All right, here's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to give you let's take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back and give you our 2 investments of the week, and then we'll wrap up our show on how to build our network. I've got Dan Butler here in the studio, guys. You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on 107.9 The Voice.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. We'll be right back after this.
Now, here's Mid-South weather from News Channel 3's Severe Weather Center. Brought to you by the CrestCore Club, hosting the people and ideas that moved Memphis forward for nearly 30 years. Poplar and I-240. Call for a free tour at 901-684-1010.
Under mostly sunny skies, temperatures will recover back to near 50 this afternoon. Look for winds to be from the west. Clear, cool, low 30s overnight. We're back into the lower 50s tomorrow, warming into the upper 50s by the weekend. Forget the fast food burger. Step up to steak at Lenny's Grill and Subs. Fresh grilled Philly steaks, all steak, no filler. Bag the burger in 2018 and step up to steak. Eat better at Lenny's. I'm News Channel 3's Todd Demers on The Voice, FM 107.9 and AM 990.
Investors or buyers, if you're looking for the best customer service and most competitive rates on a home loan, come to Brighton Bank. They offer a quick approval process, fast closing, and they even finance 85% of the purchase in most cases. At Brighton Bank, they work with every kind of loan: BAFHA, USDA programs, traditional conventional, financing programs, long-term fixed financial, and bridge loans made easy. When it comes to home loans, they mean business. Call them today, 901-758-1740.
Griffin, Clift, Everton, and Mashmeyer, PLLC, is a full-service law firm with over 50 years of experience in the Memphis area. Real estate closings have continued to be the forefront of their law practice, which include residential, commercial, and development real estate transactions, drafting and negotiation of real estate contracts and leases, business information, preparation of wills, probate, and estate planning. Their firm represents a number of builders, developers, investors, and local lending institutions, and is approved to close transactions for most local banks and mortgage companies. In addition, they offer title search, title examination services, and title insurance through several well-established title insurance companies in the Memphis area, as well as Tennessee and Mississippi. They strive to offer services in a prompt and timely fashion while advising and representing clients in a zealous and professional manner. Should their offered services be of need, please contact William N. Griffin Jr. or any of their attorneys at 901-752-1133. They can also be found online at www.gcemlaw.com or on Facebook.
Is it a good time to buy or refi? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? Are interest rates going sky high soon? Hi, I'm Ludi Calloway, the mortgage lady at iBank Mortgage. I tell my customers to ask questions, get answers. So join me every Monday morning at 8 and I will tell you what's going on in today's still changing mortgage world. Remember, most people think about mortgages a few times in their lives. I think about them every single day. Tune in Mondays at 8.
Picture your dream house. For you, it might be a sprawling property with mature trees and a winding driveway. Or perhaps it's something more cozy and closer to the mall. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage today. Tell us about your dream home. We want to make it a reality. Call Sierra Pacific Mortgage at 206-930-1801 or visit spmc.com for more information. NMLS ID 1788 Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour on KWAM. And now, here's your host, Dean Harris.
All right, welcome back to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. Got Dan Butler in the studio this morning. We've been talking about how to build your network or developing your network. We're going to dive back into that. First, let me give you our investments of the week. Grab your pens, grab your paper, give you out some free money here. All you got to do is spend a little. 4217 Windermere Drive. That's in Raleigh, 38128. Got a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house. This one is occupied for $695 a month, and they are asking $42,900. 4,000 block of Windermere Drive in 38128. That's Raleigh. 3-bedroom, 1-bath. This is a good brick home. It's got some covered parking. This is Namney Estates neighborhood, which is actually a pretty successful area for rental properties. So 4,000 block Windermere, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, $695. It's occupied for $695 a month. The seller is asking $42,900. Number 2, let's see, the 3,000 block of Edgefield Drive. This is also in Raleigh, so I'm giving you 2 good Raleigh properties here that you can grab fairly cheap. 3-bedroom, 1-bath house as well. This one's occupied at $650, and the seller is asking $34,000. So we've got 2 good properties out there in Raleigh in the 38128 zip code. I like Raleigh. This one's also a brick home, 2 brick homes, so this is great. Let me repeat them one more time. 4,000 block of Windermere Drive, 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It's occupied at $695. It's in the 38128 zip code, and the seller's asking $42,900. And then the 3,000 block of Edgefield Drive in 38128. So you got 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. It's occupied for $650, and the seller's asking $34,000. If you got any questions about those 2, you can call, text me, email, whatever's easiest. Dean@CrestCore.com is my email address. Or you can also go on our website, www.CrestCoreRealty.com, and you can see everything that we've got for sale up there. I think we've got about 71 active listings now, and those are all.
Some more.
We do. I need some more. Get some more options because they're 10 or 15 of those will move in the next month or so. Yep. So we've got to replenish that. But yeah, if you've got any questions about those, give me a call or check out our website.
It's funny. At the break, I was like, I wonder what my calendar looks like this week, and I thought I'd share with you. I just looked at how many people I'm meeting this week.
Yeah.
So since Monday, today's Tuesday. So Monday through Friday, met a wholesaler and investor. Mm-hmm. Just helping them a little bit. Mentor somebody yesterday. Meeting an old client today at lunch.
You mentored somebody yesterday?
Yeah,
I
mentored,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Meeting an old client today, and the only reason I'm meeting them is, main reason is to learn what we can improve on.
Yeah.
Getting some feedback, where we missing the point, where we're doing well, where we improved.
That's always fun.
That's fun, yeah. A new client,
That's good.
A wholesaler, just to keep that relationship going, keep us, fed with houses. Mm-hmm. Meeting a mentor for lunch that's been my mentor for years, that's way ahead of where I'm at. Mm-hmm. Just to tell him what I'm doing and what advice he has for me. Another old client to get feedback. Yep. And then a fellow property manager in town, just going to lunch with them on Friday just to share ideas and how's it going, how are you doing, what can I help you with, and we've helped each other make, thousands of dollars extra revenue each year by just sharing ideas, and we don't share fee amounts or anything like that because that's but we share ideas on how to generate revenue. So anyway, that's just a typical week.
When we talk about results and sustaining it, you just mentioned 7 or 8 things that you've got for the rest of this week that you're going to meet and sustain your network.
Yep.
And your people. So we're not just preaching this and
no, that's the point I wanted to show. Just
spewing this out on the radio. I mean, it's very consistent. You stay consistent.
Yep.
You're way more, and this is something I've got to get better at. I've got to get better at doing some of that. I avoid that stuff in some cases, like the plague, because I'm so busy in the office, and so I've got to get to where I set some time apart. I probably do 1 or 2 a week. I mean, you've got 8 or 9 more the rest of this week. So I know we've got different roles in our company.
Well, I was going to say, but that also comes with time of building your team.
Yeah.
You know, as your team gets built out, you should be able to get stronger your network. So, like, when you first start out, like, doing this what we're talking about today is really, really hard because you're being pulled in 1,000 different directions.
Yeah.
And you still are, but, you know, I forgot the words. Like, you know, now it's trying to turn things more in important but not urgent.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to get out of the urgent now stuff, you know, and put the team in place to handle that. So if you just focus on the important, not urgent, that frees you up for time to do that the networking more and more, which then 10x's your ability to do whatever you're trying to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Crawl before you walk, before you run, before you sprint, you know. So
that's right. How to keep sustaining your network, call them frequently, mail or email every time.
Yeah.
Handwritten notes, you know, we mentioned that a little bit earlier, but that's, you know, in this day and age, I like I said, I send out some postcards or some letters here and there that are handwritten, but in this day and age where email is super easy, text is even easier.
If you write a handwritten note,
if you take 5 minutes and write a handwritten note to somebody,
it's so powerful.
Yeah, it's super powerful. I've used that in different walks of life, and I tell you, the results from it have been great.
Yeah, and I like doing it, but I have to always overcome a mental hurdle. You know, when you're growing up, I don't know about you, my mom made us sit down every holiday and thank for every present, and it's like, well, what if I didn't like it?
Yeah,
say something nice. Yeah, write it anyway. That's
you
right.
wore a nice sweater that night. Right?
But the gifts kept coming when you're thankful for your relatives and family and friends that did that. But the handwritten notes, I can't say enough about what that can do to help strengthen those relationships.
And do what kind of you mentioned earlier, set them up for breakfast or a coffee or lunch or whatever it may be, and just continue to bounce ideas. I love doing that, by the way. I mean, that's something I love. Well, you and I do it all the time. And just to sit down with no agenda, no purpose. You're not trying to – the only thing you're trying to grab out of it is the idea part that you're bouncing off of each other. So, I mean,
I figured I always say you got to eat anyway, right?
That's true.
I mean, unless you're one time that you try to flip your phone over, you know, and then you can be intentional. Because, you know, at night you're focused on your family, or you should be. Try to be. Yeah. So just try to, you know, I even say drop by the office, you know, schedule time. I mean, that's what your calendar's for. So
absolutely,
that's huge.
Update them on kind of what you're doing. Constantly keep them up to date. And this is what I'm working on right now. Ask them for advice. That has always worked for me. Hey, what do you think of this? Mm-hmm. It's a sales thing too, in the fact that I'm trying to, you know, get you to speak and get you to talk. But when you're asking it for advice from either a mentor or even somebody that's a colleague or a peer, I mean, getting advice from them, it not only makes them feel important, but it also lets them know you value what they're thinking and their thoughts. So it's not just, we keep saying, we've said this 20 times during the show today, but it's not just a take.
Well, and if I always get pushed on what my favorite book is, and I've read this book at least twice, maybe 3 times, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Mm-hmm. And his whole premise behind that is, one of the biggest chapters in there that I always remember is, people love to talk. Yeah. Especially about themselves. Yeah. So again, if you're others focused, you say, man, tell me about what you did in this situation. You know, you're not asking them, you know, to help you do X, Y, and Z, but man, they're just spewing their guts on, you know,
that's sales 101, man.
On what they're, you know, what they did and how they did it and all the pain they went through, and you know, so getting others to talk versus you talking, you don't learn when you're talking. And people don't realize that. When you're jabbing your mouth and saying what all the great things you do and don't do, and you know, but turn it into a question session, you know, where you're asking questions and really trying to learn, you know, that's and that's another thing I would say with this whole piece is just you know, I think that if people, how am I trying to say this? The intentionality of it, of just being open. You know, we were in Dallas 2 weeks ago. Yep. I mean, people were sharing all kinds of their secret sauce.
Yeah.
Presentations, what we call gives, and we had some visitors there that week, and they were just blown away with how open we were, and I think that, and we've had previous shows where we've talked about this and why we do this show, and like we tell a lot of stuff that we do and don't do, and just like this, saying all this for 45 minutes or whatever we have for an hour, saying it and doing it is two different things. So I love sharing everything I can. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, rubber meets the road. Let's see who can really do it and put it into action.
And in our line of work too, agents have always been like, a lot of agents are sitting out there, and maybe investors too. They don't want to tell anybody what they did and how they did it.
That's right.
And although you don't have to give a rock bottom secret,
sure,
there's plenty of real estate to buy and sell.
That's right.
I mean, from an agent, I never understood why an agent would never, hey, I went about doing this. 9 times out of 10, the people listening aren't going to do the work that you did to get it anyway. You might as well share some of those things to build that rapport with some of the people that you're talking to.
Well, and I think that's who I connect with the most, is those that are just open.
Yeah.
Just lay it all out there. Like Marcus Lemonis, The Prophet. Have you ever seen that show?
No.
He's focused on people, process, and product.
Yeah.
And his big thing that when he sees a company that he's trying to help buy into is if he sees those people being vulnerable and being open and just laying it out there, those are the ones that he lights up and says, okay, we can work with this, we can fix this and make this happen.
Because they can be a partner.
That's right.
I mean, if they're not,
if they're just like this, doing on the radio.
I've got some people that I deal with that I believe are like that.
Sure.
They won't say anything about their business. Not that I'm trying to bury them, but they won't say anything about their business whatsoever for fear that I am trying to do that. There's never a give and take. It's usually just take. So there are people that are out there that are like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that. Again, I called one of my best friends from home on the way in the show this morning and just talked to him about what's he got going on.
Yeah.
I told him what all we're doing. Can't wait for him to come to the office. He came into our office for a week last year just to...
We had him on the show.
That's right, Hunter. So it's just great to have people like that in your life that you can just lay it all out there and just tell them the good and the bad. Hey, man, I told him about how something that I really messed up on, and he was just... there for me, thanks for telling them, sorry you're going through that. But, you got to let that kind of stuff out,
to somebody.
That's right. So.
Well, because it doesn't give you an opportunity to learn from it. If it's a mistake or even if it's something good, to get it out and bounce ideas back, you've got to have some trust that you're building up.
That's right.
Guys, we're in the studio this morning with Dan Butler, and we're talking about developing your network. We have gone over building it. Talked about calling your network, asking them what they're working on, let them know what you're working on. Just always be in front of them with what you're doing and what your goals are. The results from some of that, your doors will start to open. People start to think of you when they find a house or the banker or whatever it may be. Your support, your mentor circle keeps growing at that point. And we talked about luck and how luck happens. And I'll say the saying again, but luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. So if you're staying consistent with that, it's not really luck to me. Stuff's just going to fall in your lap. Sustaining it, you've started building your network. Now you've got to sustain it. Just like marketing, you've got to stay consistent with everything. Relationships are built by communicating, execution, and ultimately builds the trust and the reputation that you're looking for. We talked about handwritten notes. We're literally getting to exactly what to do.
It's a framework.
Yeah, it is a framework of exactly what to do to build that network. To the point to where we're telling you to write handwritten notes. Right. We're getting all the way down to that. Meeting people for breakfasts and lunch and coffees and dropping by the office, that sort of thing. And Dan mentioned how you've got 8 or 9 of these left this week that you're doing. So it's not just something that we're talking about. So
then you got to start utilizing it.
Yeah, once you've done that, you've got to utilize your network. Let's talk about that for a second. Refer someone to your network. That to me is the biggest thank you that I can ever get, is someone refer me some business.
Yeah. And then how great is that for you to refer somebody else?
Yeah.
I think utilizing it also means doing what you say you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, I call it SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, with a time. So, hey, I'll get back to your client by, Tuesday at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Or I'll have that contract to you by whatever it is you committed to your network.
Do it. Yeah.
That's the biggest piece in it, just dropping the ball. And as my team knows, that's probably one of the things that just, if they see me not happy,
yeah,
it's we didn't do what we say we're going to do.
That's right.
I'm okay with messing up. I'm okay with failure.
Yeah.
I'm okay with doing the wrong thing. I'm not okay with not doing.
Yeah.
Because my network
depends on it.
Yeah, depends on it.
Those are the most important people. If anybody you need to stay up to par with, it's them. It's your network. It's your people that you deal with.
Yep.
Always take the high road.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of the hardest things that we're going to be able to talk about today is just taking the high road, meaning, don't talk negative about, people in your network or people, friends of your network, or, you mentioned about me eating costs here and there.
Yeah.
I'd rather keep my network solid and lose $500.
Yeah.
That's just me. I think that's not worth. Whereas principle-wise, this is a hard concept.
Yeah.
Principle-wise, you will put a stake in your no, I did that work or I didn't do this and I need that $500.
Yeah.
Is it worth, that network? Now, right and right, wrong is wrong. I don't want to say just roll over and die. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
But if you got a client or refer somebody in your network that truly believes X, Y, and Z, are you going to fight that? Part of it's, I look at something, time value of money.
Yeah.
Is it worth fighting it for? Say you owe $100. Well, I feel like my time's worth at least $100 these days. Just just 1 hour of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd rather just give that $100 and move on,
be done
versus fighting about it and arguing about it and all that stuff. So that, and then just being negative. I think that's huge on your network. Nobody wants to refer people and then worry about what's going to happen on the back end. So
I don't think you can let your ego get in the way when it comes to your network.
No.
You've got to put that aside and understand that you're partners with these people on a mental standpoint and a verbal standpoint. So letting your ego put to the side is always good. And some key things to remember before we go today.
Absolutely, we're running out of time.
Yeah, be focused. Build your trust. What was that first one?
Be others focused. Get out of the what's in it for me.
Yeah.
Don't be at what's in it for me. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, building trust.
Which I'll throw out this on Build a Trust. If our listeners look at Speed of Trust by Covey, Stephen R. Covey.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the best books. It's a big read, but it just lays out a huge foundation. Trust. People think of trust as like lying and cheating. That's not really what trust is all about.
Work trust, yeah.
Work trust and building that trust of.
All right, guys, they're kicking us off the radio.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much for listening today. You can catch the show on the Facebook page and all the other videos that are on there. Appreciate you listening to the Memphis Real Estate Hour. We'll see you next Tuesday at 8 a.m. right here on 107.9 The Voice.
Sounds good. Thank you.